Hello and welcome to Math with Ms. V, where we are still comparing populations and looking at some dot plots. So in our previous video, we compared box and whisker plots. In this video, we will learn how to compare two dot plots and what information we can learn from them. So we're going to look at two standards, 7 MAE 34, compare and contrast the degree of visual overlap of two numerical data distributions, and 7 MAE 35, use measures of center and measures of variability for numerical data from random samples to draw information, informal comparative inferences about two populations. Lots of words for not too much. So as a quick reminder, there's a lot we can glean from a dot plot. We can find our 5-number summary, the range, the IQR, the mean, and the mode. So let's look right in at our first example. So we have the height of players on two basketball teams, the Chicago Bulls and the Denver Nuggets. And just looking at them, I can see that there is more variability in the Chicago Bulls. The dots are a little bit more spread out. But we do have two high points where our mode can be found. So let's just get started with finding some information. So let's look at the minimum for the Bulls. That's the shortest height, and that person is 6'2". Then our maximum is the tallest player, and that person is 7'2". Okay, our range is 1 foot. And these players span 1 foot in height. The mode, or the height where most players are, we can see the tallest stack of basketballs is at 6'8". The median, the number in the middle. So you can use the Markov method, but what I like to do is I count all of my dots, and I know there are 17, and I divide by 2. That gives me 8.5. So I know my median, my middle number, is the 9th dot. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So my median is 6'8". I'm going to go ahead and draw a line to divide my two groups. Okay, I can do the same thing for Q1. So there's 8 dots in that group. Half of 8 is 4. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And because that's even, it's going to be in between these two basketballs. So I can see I'm counting by 2 inches. So that means in between. This is 6'5". So the Q1 is 6 feet, 4.5 inches. Q3, again, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So my Q3 is in between, but they're at the same number. So my Q3 is 6'10". And the IQR for those two, when we subtract, is 5.5 inches. And then finally, our mean, where we take all of the heights of all the basketball players on the Chicago Bulls and we add them up together, divide by all 17 players, and we get that the average height is 6 feet 8 inches. Okay, let's do the same with the Denver Nuggets. The minimum is 6'3". The maximum is also 7'2". The range for them is 11 inches. The mode, the number with the most, is 6'7". The median, the middle number, is again the 9th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that is also 6'7". Okay. I've got 8 smaller. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So my Q1 is halfway in between 6'4" and 6'5". So it's also 6'4.5". My Q3 is 1, 2, 3, 4, in between 6, 9, and 10, so 6, 9.5. My IQR is 5 inches. And the mean height, so if I add up all the heights of all of my basketball players and divide by 17, is 6 feet 7 inches. Okay, so what's some things I can pull out of this? Well, if I look, I can see on average, the Chicago Bulls have taller players. Okay, because these aren't both symmetrical, we can't only use the mean, but I can see that my median and my mode are both higher for the Chicago Bulls, so that gives them a taller team on average. If I look at my range and my IQR, they're both smaller for the Denver Nuggets. So if we look at consistency and height, the Denver Nuggets is more consistent. The Bulls just are slightly more variable in height. There's many other inferences you can make. Drop a few in the chat if you find some different than me. Okay, let's look at one more example. So we have 2 pumpkin patches, the Buford corn maze and Burt's pumpkin patches, and we have some measurements of their mini pumpkins, the diameter, and this is given in centimeters. So for Buford, the minimum is 4.5 centimeters. The maximum is 9. That gives us a range of 4.5 centimeters. The mode is 7. The median, so if I count, there are 13 pumpkins. So 13 divided by 2 gives me 6.5. So my median is my 7th pumpkin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right here. So my median is 7 centimeters. Q1, so there's 6 smaller and 6 larger. So we're going to go in between the 3rd and 4th. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Halfway between 5 and 5.5. So that's 5.25. 1, 2, 3. Okay. My 3rd and 4th pumpkin are on the same number. That means my Q3 is 8. My IQR is 2.75 centimeters. And finally, my mean, if I add up all the diameters of all 13 pumpkins and divide by 13, I get that the mean is 6.7 centimeters. Okay, now let's look at Burt's. And just by looking, I can see Burt's has more pumpkins in the higher range. So I'm going to make a prediction that Burt's pumpkin patch will give me a larger pumpkin. So let's find out. So the minimum pumpkin is 6.5 centimeters. The maximum size of a pumpkin measured was 11 centimeters. That gives us a range also of 4.5. So they have the same range, which is interesting. The mode, the one we have the most of, is 10 centimeters. The median, the number in the middle. So again, it's our 7th pumpkin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my mode is 9. Let's split here. I'll go with the smaller group. 9. Q1 is between my 3rd and 4th pumpkin. So 1, 2, 3. So that's between 7 and 8. So that's 7.5. My Q3 is between my 3rd and 4th pumpkin. So 1, 2, 3. That's between 10 and 10. So 10. The IQR is 2.5. And my mean, so if I add up all the sizes of all the pumpkins and divide by 13, I get a mean of 8.9 centimeters. Okay, so these aren't exactly symmetrical, but they're fairly close. So that means we can use the mean as a measure of center. And I can learn from the mean that Bert's has larger pumpkins. Okay, its mean is 2 centimeters larger. I can also see that because the minimum's higher, the maximum's higher. My IQR, remember IQR represents the middle 50%, and 50% of Bert's pumpkins are within 7.5 and 10 centimeters. 50% are in that range. Whereas for Buford, 50% of their pumpkins were between 5.25 and 8 centimeters. Okay, so more of Bert's pumpkins are much larger. It's interesting, they have the same range. The IQR for Bert's is slightly smaller. That means they're a bit more consistent. But overall, Bert's has larger pumpkins. If you have made any other conclusions, please drop it in the chat below. I will look forward to seeing them.